Mr. Sergeant of Arms, invite the members into the chamber and close doors. I hereby declare the House of Representatives of the 114th General Assembly of the State of Tennessee now in extraordinary session. Will the members please stand? Will the visitors in the gallery please stand and remain standing through the Pledge of Allegiance? Representative Martin of Carroll will serve as chaplain of the day. Representative Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, first and foremost, today is National Day of Prayer, and it's an honor to stand before you guys. I want to thank each and every one of you guys for willingness to serve and be here today. As I think back on this, I think on core memories. You know, we think back to our childhood, things that stand out to us. One of those in my mind was growing up. Every Sunday, the Martin family would load up the car and we'd head to Grand and Grandma's house for lunch after church. And every Sunday, you'd open the door and walk in, and there'd sit Grandpa in his chair with a cigarette, a Diet Coke, and his Yankees hat. And so you sat on that porch with Grandpa. He talked about three things. He talked about God, family, which is usually his grandkids, and the New York Yankees. But every time he talked about God, what he would relate back to continually was the book of James. He always talked about how practical the book of James was. He'd always talk about how you can learn just about everything you need to know by the book of James. It's only 5 chapters. Anybody can start with the book of James. It made it easy. And so I was thinking and praying over this as I knew I'd be leading this today, and James came out to me because there's 3 lessons that I want to talk just briefly on that's in here that I think relate to us in this moment, in this time as legislators, as we lead this great state. As we turn to those words, first one is embracing trials. James 1:2 tells us, "My brethren, count it all joy when you fall into various trials, knowing that the testing of your faith produces patience. But let patience have its perfect work, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking nothing." Each one of us deal with trials every day, and God never said anywhere in this book that we would not have trials. He just gave us a book and a map of how to handle and address those trials. Number 2, controlling your emotions in a legislative world. He tells us on James 1:19 through 20, "So then, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, and slow to wrath. For the wrath of man does not produce the righteousness of God." And finally, third, Jesus in this book in James, they talk about key is seeking wisdom and remaining humble. James 1:5 tells us, "If any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of God, who gives all generously and without reproach, and it will be given to him." And finally, James 4:6, "God resists the proud, but gives grace to the humble." Let us pray. Lord, how great you are. We come to you today standing shoulder to shoulder with a room full of sinners, a room full of men and women who are just trying the best we can. But we know that only through you and through your grace are we allowed to do the things we do. And we thank you, Lord, for the many blessings that you give us. We thank you to live in a state where we can profess your name from the schoolhouse to this wonderful Capitol here today. We thank you for the members, the men and women who are serving this great country and state. We thank you for the 99 men and women that stand here today. Lord, we thank you so much for the grace and the generosity and the things that you give us that we do not deserve, Lord. We pray that you continue to lead us and direct our ways as we turn and think of you, Lord, in these moments. Thank you again for your Son. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Representative Martin, lead to the Pledge of Allegiance.
Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Gallery, this is your warning. If you shout out, if you make any gesture that disrupts this proceeding and we cannot identify you, we will clear all you out. That's your one warning. We do not do that. Mr. Clerk, please take the roll.
Roll call.
Mr. Clerk, please take the roll.
Mr. Speaker, 96 members present.
Let journal reflect Representative Hicks of Hawkins and Representative Bricken are excused. Next order, Mr. Clerk.
Introduction resolutions.
Leader Lamberth, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. That all resolutions properly filed be introduced pursuant to order number 17 in place of the consent calendar referred to the appropriate standing committee.
Without objection, so ordered. Next order, Mr. Clerk.
Senate Joint Resolutions congratulatory memorializing.
Leader Lambert, you recognize.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. That all Senate joint resolutions congratulatory memorializing line that has to be placed of the consent calendar pursuant to rule number 17.
Without objection, so ordered. Next order, Mr. Clerk.
Resolutions lying over.
Leader Lambert, you recognize.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. That all resolutions lined over be referred to the appropriate standing committee.
Without objection, so ordered. Next order, Mr. Clerk.
Introduction of bills, Senate bills on first consideration, Senate bills on second consideration, House bills on second consideration, petitions and memorials, reports of standing committees, reports of select committees, calendars, Mr. Speaker, the House has a consent calendar.
Chair Lady Moody, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move passage of the consent calendar on third and final consideration in keeping with Rule 50.
Chair Lady moves passage of the consent calendar properly seconded. Mr. Clerk, any objections been filed?
Mr. Speaker, no objections filed.
Leader Lambert.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Since last we gathered, one of our members passed, a true giant of a representative, and his son has since been appointed this morning to fill his role. With consultation with the minority leader, I would proudly ask and humbly ask that all members voting in the affirmative be added as co-prime sponsors on HJR 7017 to memorialize the death of our friend, Representative G.A. Hardaway.
Without objection, exclusion duly noted. Anyone else seeking recognition on the consent calendar? See none? All right, we're voting. All those in favor of consent calendar, vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed, vote no. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change their vote? Mr. Clerk, please take the vote.
Ayes 95, no nays, one present, not voting.
Having received constitutional majority, I declare consent calendar passed without objection. The motion reconsider is tabled. Next order, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Speaker, the House has a regular calendar.
Call the first bill, Mr. Clerk.
House Resolution 1 by Chairman Sapiki, resolution to honor and commend Louima McWilliams for exemplary service to the state of Tennessee.
Chairman Speaker, you recognize.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move adoption of House Resolution 7001.
Chairman Speaker moves adoption, Bobby seconded. Mr. Clerk, any amendments been filed?
Mr. Speaker, no amendments filed.
Chairman Speaker, you recognize.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I renew my motion.
Chairman Speaker renews motion. Any discussion? Any objections, questions? Seeing none, we're voting. All those in favor, House Resolution 7001, vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed, vote no. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change their vote? Ms. Clerk, please take the vote.
Ayes 73, 19 nays, one present, not voting.
House Resolution 7001 having received constitutional majority, I hereby declare adopted without objection. The motion reconsider is tabled. Call the next bill, Mr. Clerk.
House Joint Resolution 1 by Representative McCalman.
Representative Allen, at your desk.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move to withdraw HJR 1 from the committee and the House.
Without objection, withdrawn. Call the next bill, Mr. Clerk.
House Joint Resolution 2 by Representative McCalman.
Representative McCalman, at your desk.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move to withdraw HJR 2 from the committee and the House.
Without objection, withdrawn. Call the next bill, Mr. Clerk.
House Joint Resolution 3 by Representative Hill.
Representative Hill, you recognize at your desk.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Move to hold on the desk.
Without objection, hold on the desk. Call the next bill, Mr. Clerk.
House Joint Resolution 4 by Representative Ashley, a resolution to honor Judge Rex Henry Ogle on the occasion of his retirement from the bench, 4th Judicial District.
Representative Ashley, you recognize.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move adoption of HJR 7004.
Representative Ashley moves adoption. Probably seconded. Mr. Clerk, any amendments been filed?
Mr. Speaker, no amendments filed.
Representative Ashley, you recognize.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I renew my motion.
Representative Ashley renews motion. Any discussion on the bill? Seeing none, any objection to the question? Seeing none, we're voting. All those in favor, House Joint Resolution 7004, vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed, vote no. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change their vote? Mr. Clerk, please take the vote.
Ayes 73, 21 nays.
House Joint Resolution 7004 having received constitutional majority, I hereby declare adopted without objection. The motion reconsider is tabled. Call the next bill, Mr. Clerk.
House Joint Resolution 5 by Representative Reeves, the resolution to honor the Franklin Theater on the 50th anniversary of its grand reopening.
Representative Reeves, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move adoption of HDR 7005.
Representative Reeves moves adoption. Properly seconded. Mr. Clerk, any amendments been filed?
Mr. Speaker, no amendments filed.
Representative Reeves, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I renew my motion.
Representative Reeves renews his motion. Any discussion on the bill? Seeing none, any objection to the question? Seeing none, we're voting. All those in favor of House Joint Resolution 7005, vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed, vote no. As every member voted, does any member wish to change their vote? Mr. Clerk, please take the vote.
Ayes 73, 22 nays.
House Joint Resolution 7005, having received constitutional majority, I hereby declare adopted without objection. The motion reconsider is tabled. Call the next bill, Mr. Clerk.
House Joint Resolution 7 by Chairman Russell, resolution to honor James Kenneth Harrell on 50 years service to the railroad industry in Tennessee.
Chairman Russell, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move adoption of HJR 7007.
Chairman Russell moves adoption. Bobby seconded. Mr. Clerk, any amendments been filed?
Mr. Speaker, no amendments filed.
Chairman Russell, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I renew my motion.
Chairman Russell renews his motion. Any discussion on the bill? Seeing none, any objection to the question? Seeing none, we're voting. All those in favor of House Joint Resolution 7007, vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed, vote no. As every member voted, does any member wish to change their vote? Ms. Clerk, please take the vote.
Ayes 73, 22 nays.
House Joint Resolution 7007, having received constitutional majority, I hereby declare adopted without objection. The motion reconsider is tabled. Call the next bill, Mr. Clerk.
House Bill 2 by Leader Lambert and others relative to congressional districts. Mr. Speaker, there's been a 34-minute time limit set on this bill.
Okay. Representative Love, for what purpose?
Mr. Speaker, I know I'm out of order. However, I would like to, if Representative Sparks will stop talking to him, recognize our new member that's here this morning, Representative Hardaway. Let's all give him a round of applause if we can.
All right, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Speaker, we're on House Bill 2.
Leader Lambert, you recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Move passage of House Bill 7002 on third and final consideration.
Leader Lambert moves passage. Bobby seconded. Mr. Clerk, any amendments been filed?
Mr. Speaker, no amendments filed.
Leader Lambert, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I renew my motion.
Leader Lambert renews his motion. Any discussion? Leader Camper.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. 7,000, yeah. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I would yield 2 minutes to Representative Powell.
Representative Powell, you're recognized for 2 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Are there not amendments on this bill? On the bill? Okay. All right. So on this bill, it's very important to recognize the fact that we are even here. We should not even be here at this special session. In our code, it clearly lays out the state law says that we shall not redistrict. We shall not redistrict except for every 10 years. That is what the law says. The exact call of the governor is illegal. We should not be here. The very fact that we are here is illegal. The fact that the speaker convened us, Speaker Sexton, together, illegal. The fact that Lieutenant Governor McNally convened us together, illegal. The people of Tennessee have a law. What are our laws if we can come in here and break the law? What are our laws? And we're
Mr.
just gonna-
Trooper, please remove that section right there, please. There you go, that section. Go, Representative Powell.
And we are here under illegal terms. This entire proceeding is illegal. And I'm here to say, if we are going to listen to Washington, we always talk about we don't listen to Washington. We ought to rename our state Washington, Tennessee, because we are here doing the work of DC. We might as well rename the state capital the White House for various reasons. Because you are discriminating against minorities, you're attacking communities, dividing them and ripping them apart, and we should all be ashamed. We should stand up and walk out and show what we mean.
Leader Camper.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I yield, I'm sorry, Mr. Speaker. I yield 4 minutes, Mr. Speaker, to Representative Dixie.
Representative Dixie, you recognized for 4 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. You know, over these last couple of days, we've heard a lot of legal and constitutional reasons of why we should, we've tried to appeal to you through the legal and the constitutional ways. But now it's just to try to appeal to your hearts and humanity. Where is your humanity in this? I would always want to say my ancestors, but I can't even say my ancestors. It was my grandparents. It was in some cases here, our parents were beaten at lunch counters. They died to drink out of water fountains with you. They died because they wanted to use the restrooms with you. Died because they wanted to love who they wanted to love. And died for us to have this right to vote. And I think it's important to think and pause, and I would hope everybody's paying attention and not just letting this go over their head, because this is a very important bill that we're about to change the course of history, and we need to be paying attention and not having sidebar conversations. Because that shows me how important it is to you that you don't care that this is a game. This is not a game. This is real life. And I have to fight as if my life depends on it. You know, laws are in place. They had to put these protections and laws in place because white men throughout history have shown that they will do the wrong thing. And look where we are now. You know, we're going to force people to do something that they're not supposed to do. And then just because you can do something doesn't mean that you can't have to do something. If this legislature was in place in the 1960s, Black people still wouldn't have the right to vote. They still wouldn't have this past civil rights if this legislature was in place right now. So I want you to pause and think about this. Republicans have been in charge for the last 14 to 16 years. Still, constituents across Tennessee still have no health care, still have problem finding shelter, housing, grocery prices are rising. And what are we doing about it? We're taking away their voice. So my question is that if the Republican policies were so great, then why do we need to change the lines to rig elections? And why should people be forced to listen to do what we have to do here? So people should pick their representation, not elected officials picking who they want to represent. This is all kinds of wrong. And I can't explain to you how hard it is to keep the emotions in check when I know the importance of what people, my grandparents, my parents went through for me to have this right to be here, to stand here today. So I'm asking my colleagues across the aisle, do the right thing. Don't do what you think you're supposed to do by following your leadership. When we got in here, we pledged allegiance to the flag of the United States. We didn't pledge allegiance to one person that's in charge. So please, as you get ready to make your votes, please vote no against these bills. and let's make sure that we have fair elections. Fair elections mean for everyone, not the rigged elections that we're getting into now. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Leader Camper.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I yield 3 minutes to Representative Johnson.
Representative Johnson, you're recognized for 3 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. What I want the people to understand, the people outside, the people listening, the people that we are doing this to, not with, that before we do anything else, we have to undo a law that's been on the books for more than 50 years because it's illegal to do what we're getting ready to do. So what do you do when you have a supermajority? You just change the rules and you change the laws so you can do the bad things that smarter folks before us knew were wrong. I didn't say the pledge today, and I certainly didn't say my usual very loudly, and justice for all. And the reason I didn't say it, it is so disingenuous to say it with folks who in a few minutes are going to vote against justice for all. You don't believe it? You need to stop saying it. We need to write your own pledge because you don't believe the pledge that we say every day. There's no court decision that requires us to be here. None, zero. That is a lie told by the folks who called us here. It is a lie. We do not have to be here. We're costing our counties a fortune. We are making a mockery of this body and of this state. We are the shame of the nation and the shame of this state. We are here to take away the voices of Black voters and the people of Memphis, to crack their districts and dilute their voices. You should be ashamed, but guess what? I know that you're not. This is not a special session. This is a white power rally and a white power grab. That is what this is. And you can deny it all you want, but the people in this state know better. They don't want partisan gerrymandering. They don't want gerrymandering by race. They don't want any of it. We have the ability to have independent redistricting done so that it's fair for all, so that voters choose their elected officials instead of elected officials choosing their voters. This is shameful, and that is why when you walk through these halls, you hear shame, 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 because the people are ashamed of you. I know you have got tons of calls and emails, and you're going to ignore them. Well, this is on you. Vote yes. You're telling everyone you're a racist.
Leader Camper.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I yield 4 minutes to Representative Love.
Representative Love, you're recognized for 4 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, members. Just want to lay out something for you, members, just to understand this process that's not being done the right way. 1981, 1992, 2001, 2012, 2022. Each of those moments were moments when a redistricting process took place. Bills were filed, bills were deliberated, bills were passed after data was collected from the 10-year, what we call the census. The reason that was done because we wanted to make sure that if there were population shifts in the state, we didn't want any district having fewer people or one district having more people and the representation not being fair. And this was the process, and it has worked. Matter of fact, there was an ad hoc redistricting committee that many of you were a member of not too long ago in 2021 and 22. In the call of the governor for this special session, the language says that we are being called to consider and then to act upon legislation. We have not even had time to consider if there have been changes because it was a rush process in the middle of the decade. I want you to ask yourself, members, what kind of sense does that really make? And if we set this precedent, does that mean that next year, around this time, that we should have another call from a different governor to see if the lines are good enough in that congressional district and perhaps the one you have now be shifted again? This is the danger of what we're doing. It has worked before we got here. It'll work after we leave. And so I'm appealing to your common sense, and not just your common sense, but your decency. If this was being done to your state house district, would you sit here and say it's okay? If there was a call from the governor to look at every state house district in the middle of a 10-year period while you were preparing to run for re-election, think about that. And then the lines were moved, and maybe you didn't have those same precincts you had where your base was. How would you feel if you had your base taken away from you and the representation not given? So here we are, about to do something that doesn't make any sense. 1981, 1992, 2001, 2012, 2022. How is it that none of that is good enough for us to look back and say, if it worked then, why must we change it now? So I appeal to your conscience, and I appeal to your sensibility, but I also appeal to your intelligence. Vote against this bill. It is setting a bad precedent, but more than that, it is dismantling the power of those African-American voters in the 9th Congressional District. And anybody who says any different is not being forthright and truthful, because you don't just accidentally stumble upon a map that divides within a few percentage points the black voters in the 9th District. Thank you.
Leader Camper.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I yield 4 minutes to Representative Glenn.
Representative Glenn, you're recognized for 4 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, I want you to think about something. I want you to think about what we call a commitment to conscience. A commitment to conscience. In the book of Daniel, there were 3 young men, and I told this story before, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Their commitment to conscience would not allow them to bow down to the king. Their commitment to conscience would not allow them to bow down to the king. So this commitment that we have to our conscience to say, this is not right. This is not who we are. When I joined the Army, I had 3 priorities: my faith, my family, and my career. If it didn't align with my faith, it wasn't good for me. If it brought shame on my family, it wasn't good for me. If it jeopardized my career, it wasn't good for me. So my commitment to conscience said I had to do the right thing no matter what. So when I deployed across seas, no matter how I felt about the war, it doesn't matter. I was called to do a duty, but I did it the right way. I did it the way it was supposed to be done, because my commitment to conscience said, do it the way it's supposed to be done. Do not bring shame on your family. Do not go against your faith, and do not jeopardize your career. As many of you know, I umpire baseball. And sometimes there's a team out there that I really don't like. But because I umpire baseball, I don't change the rules in the middle of the game to allow the team that I like to win. Because those kids deserve a fair umpire. An umpire that says a ball is a ball and a strike is a strike. So I tell you this, and I challenge you to this. Allow your commitment to conscience, like the 3 young men in the Bible who would not bow down to the king of Babylon because their faith was higher than the king. And they believed in that. So I tell you again, what we are about to embark on right now is a moment that is an epic that will remain stenciled in the mental sheets of unfolding generations. Do the right thing. Do the right thing. I yield my time back.
Leader, gallery, you all have been warned that you cannot do that. Sorry. Leader Camper. Leader Camper.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I reserve the balance of my time.
Leader Lambert.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The House Republican Caucus will not be utilizing our entire time on this particular piece of legislation. I appreciate all the comments that have been made. This bill just deletes the last sentence of TCA 2-16-102 that allows us to enter into this conversation. With that, Mr. Speaker, I renew my motion.
All right, we're voting. All those in favor of House Bill 7002, vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed, vote no. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change their vote? Ms. Ashley, aye. Mr. Clerk, please take the vote.
Aye, 66, 24 nays, 5 present, I voted.
House Bill 7002, having received a constitutional majority, I hereby declare it passed without objection. The motion reconsiders table. Next bill, Mr. Clerk.
House Bill 1 by Leader Lamberth and others relative to 2026 congressional elections.
Leader Lamberth, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Move passage of House Bill 7001 on third and final consideration.
Leader Lamberth moves passage. By me seconded. Mr. Clerk, call for First Amendment.
House Congressional Redistricting Committee Amendment Number 1.
Chairman Farmer, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Move to adopt.
Chairman Farmer moves adoption of Committee Amendment Number 1. Probably seconded. Any discussion on the amendment? Seeing none, all those in favor of Committee Amendment Number 1 say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. The ayes have it. You adopted. Next amendment, Mr. Clerk.
House Amendment 2 by Representative Jones and Davidson, Mr. Speaker, was not timely filed.
Representative Jones, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just handed the Representative Lambert the Confederate flag saying we will not go back because you are trying to bring us back to the Confederacy by bringing us here for this racist,
Representative
immoral.
Jones, I'm going to stop you right there. You've got 1 minute to do your amendment, which is untimely filed. We are not grandstanding on this floor talking to another member in that regard. You know the rules. If you want to address your amendment, please address your amendment. Representative Jones, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can the clerk read the amendment since they told us last minute into the record, and then I will respond. Would he mind reading the amendment for the record?
We got objection. So if you want to put it up, we can put it up. Representative Jones.
Thank you. I see we're working according to Jim Crow's rules today. This amendment is trying to point out the fact that this gathering that we have here today is about disenfranchising specifically Black people. The speaker yesterday said that this is not about race, but everything that we've seen about this map and about this process has been racialized. The ways that we have stacked these committees to put members on who are seething with racism. The rhetoric used to attack majority Black communities as not deserving representation under the guise of fairness. And so this amendment is simply trying to add into the record a process to prevent this from happening on behalf of our constituents. I think that Cameron Sexton has brought us here as the Grand Wizard in Chief here of this chamber to try and disenfranchise Black people. We have to call it for what it is. It's shameful, and he'll be.
You failed to move for consideration of amendment number 2. It fell for lack of motion. Next amendment, Mr. Clerk.
House Amendment 3 by Representative Jones, Mr. Speaker, was not timely filed.
Representative Jones, you're recognized.
Again, the clerk delayed to last minute to tell us what number our amendment would be, so we're not even privy to what amendments they're having us talk about. I want to lay that into the record. And so we're here today, once again, for a white sheets caucus meeting in which they're trying to disenfranchise people.
There's objection, Representative Jones. Once again, that is out of order. If you would like to stick to the amendment, we will continue. The continuation of what you're doing is against House rules. There's been objection. You can go back, but I caution you to stick to the amendment. Representative Jones.
Mr. Speaker, once again, your clerks who you hire have given us literally seconds notice of a list of amendments, and we're not even clear what amendment is which number because they wait till the last minute to hand us these papers. And so we're here, again, for this counting jelly beans in a jar. That's what they want to do. They want to create a process that is unfair, unequal, that we cannot adequately deliberate this legislation. She gave us a whole stack of amendments here saying that they weren't in the call and gave us a list saying that a few are. This is the unfairness of this process that has been the subject of this entire special session of rushed decisions, a rushed deliberation. It is a form of Jim Crow terror. You know what you're doing. It's shameful, but we know that you all are going to fall in line behind this man here who's going to lead you down the path of racism and white supremacy. It's wrong. It's immoral. And when we say do justice, love mercy, and walk humble.
It fails for lack of a motion. Next amendment, Mr. Clerk.
House Amendment 4 by Representative Johnson, Mr. Speaker, was not timely filed.
Representative Jones, you're recognized.
Once again, the clerk has put us at a disadvantage by giving us our amendments seconds before saying which ones were.
Johnson of Knox. It's her amendment, my fault. And members, just so that you know, all these amendments were filed after session started at 9:20 a.m. Just for the record. Representative Johnson, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. What this amendment does is allow some transparency and accountability. It requires public disclosure of outside consultants or contractors involved in congressional map drawing. The public deserves to know who helped draw the maps. There's been no transparency. No one's talked to the public, given this stuff to the public in time to respond to the maps that were drawn yesterday morning that we got. This allows for transparency and public disclosure of anyone involved in the congressional map drawing. Move consideration.
There we go. That's proper motion, properly seconded. We're voting for consideration of amendment number 4. All those in favor of considering amendment number 4, vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed, vote no. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change their vote? A balcony hissing will get the whole balcony gone. Mr. Trooper, move all the balcony. Go for it. Mr. Clerk, take the vote.
Ayes 23, 73 nays.
In accordance with Rule 60B, having failed to receive the necessary 2/3 vote, the motion to consider amendment number 4 fails. Next amendment, Mr. Clerk.
Amendment 5 by Representative Johnson, Mr. Speaker, was not timely filed.
Representative Johnson, you recognize.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This one is also about public access and transparency. It requires proposed maps, shapefiles, demographic data, and written findings to be publicly released before passage of the bill. If the public must live under the map, the public should be allowed to see the map for more than 24 hours. This is outrageous. That is not how we have done this in the past, and we are changing laws to do it now. So this requires proposed maps, shapefiles, and demographic data and written findings to be publicly released before passage. We work for the people. We don't work for billionaires and lobbyists. I move consideration of this amendment.
You've heard the motion, probably seconded. We're voting for consideration of amendment number 5. All those in favor of considering amendment number 5, vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed, vote no. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change their vote? Mr. Clerk, please take the vote.
Ayes 23, 71 nays.
In accordance with Rule 60B, having failed to receive the necessary two-thirds vote, the motion to consider amendment number 5 fails. Next amendment, Mr. Clerk.
House Amendment 6 by Representative Johnson. Mr. Speaker, was not timely filed.
Representative Johnson, you recognize.
Here we are again. This amendment is about transparency and accountability. It requires the written findings identifying the legal basis, necessity, and minority voting impact of proposed maps. Let me say that again. It requires reporting of the minority voting impacts of proposed maps. If districts are being changed, if they are being cracked mid-decade, the public deserves a written explanation of why this is happening. The public deserves this information. I move consideration of Amendment 6.
Proper motion, probably seconded. We're voting for consideration of amendment number 6. All those in favor of considering amendment number 6, vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed, vote no. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change their vote? Mr. Clerk, please take the vote.
Ayes 21, 73 nays.
In accordance with Rule 60B, having failed to receive the necessary two-thirds vote, the motion to consider amendment number 6 fails. Next amendment, Mr. Clerk.
House Amendment 7 by Representative Powell. Mr. Speaker, was not timely filed.
Representative Powell, you recognize.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This amendment is very important, and anyone who's interested in making sure that anything we're doing here, as we already know it's illegal, but at least this amendment says that there's a legal basis for this. That there's a legal basis for the purposes of even being here. And the necessity for any revisions to districts between apportionment and the impact of the proposed plan will have on minority voting strength in communities of interest will be considered. This is a very important amendment. We know everything that's being done with these maps. And that's why it's extremely important. And I move for consideration of my amendment.
That's proper motion, probably seconded. We're voting for consideration of amendment number 7. All those in favor of considering amendment number 7, vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed, vote no. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change their vote? Mr. Clerk, please take the vote.
Ayes 23, 71 nays.
In accordance with Rule 60B, having failed to receive the necessary two-thirds vote, the motion to consider amendment number 7 fails. Next amendment, Mr. Clerk.
Amendment 8 by Representative Johnson. Mr. Speaker, was not timely filed.
Representative Johnson, you recognize.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. What this amendment does is it's Voting Rights Act protections. It prohibits maps drawn to diminish or fragment minority voting strength. Communities should not fear that district lines are being adjusted to weaken minority voting strength, which is what we are doing today with full knowledge. So what this amendment does, it prohibits maps drawn to diminish or fragment minority voting strength. This is a Voting Rights Act protection because our communities should not be cracked and divided and diluted their voices in our democracy. I move consideration.
You've heard the motion, probably seconded. We're voting for consideration of amendment number 8. All those in favor of considering amendment number 8, vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed, vote no. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change their vote? Mr. Clerk, please take the vote.
Ayes 21, 71 nays.
In accordance with Rule 60B, having failed to receive the necessary two-thirds vote, the motion to consider amendment number 8 fails. Next amendment, Mr. Clerk.
Amendment number 9 by Representative Salinas. Mr. Speaker, was not timely filed.
Representative Salinas, you're recognized.
This amendment is about fair elections. Congressional districts should not be designed to protect politicians. Politicians should not get to pick their voters. Voters should get to pick who their politician is. So this is an amendment that is anti-incumbent protection. So I move for consideration.
You heard the motion, probably seconded. We're voting for consideration of amendment number 9. All those in favor of considering amendment number 9, vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed, vote no. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change their vote? Mr. Clerk, please take the vote.
Ayes 22, 72 nay.
In accordance with Rule 60B, having failed to receive the necessary two-thirds vote, the motion to consider amendment number 9 failed. Next amendment, Mr. Clerk.
Amendment 10 by Representative Jones and Davidson. Mr. Speaker, was non-timely filed.
Representative Jones and Davidson, you recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This amendment requires written evaluation of impacts on minority communities. It requires a voting rights analysis. The General Assembly should understand how proposed maps affect minority communities before voting. Yesterday, the Speaker was asked when he presented this map, how would Black communities be impacted? He said he didn't know, but we know that they base this off of census data. Census data does not include partisanship, it includes racial data. And so the Speaker has been clearly working with Doug Himes, the Ethics Council, to create a racially gerrymandered map intentionally. This requires for us to be presented with that racial analysis before we are able to vote on legislation. And with that, I move for consideration of amendment number 10.
You've heard the motion, probably seconded. We're voting for consideration of amendment number 10. All those in favor of considering amendment number 10, vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed, vote no. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change their vote? Mr. Clerk, please take the vote.
Ayes 17, 71 nays, 2 present, on voting.
In accordance with Rule 60B, having failed to receive the necessary two-thirds vote, the motion to consider amendment number 10 fails. Chairman Clemens, for what purpose?
Parliamentary inquiry.
All right, come on up. Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Speaker, the question was about the Speaker's authority to clear the gallery. Rule 4, in case of any disturbance or disorderly conduct in the gallery lobby, the Speaker or the Chair Committee host shall have the power to order the same be cleared.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Next amendment.
Amendment 11 by Representative Powell. Mr. Speaker, is not timely filed.
Representative Powell, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. You should like this one, Mr. Speaker, because it actually gives you power to create an independent commission to create these maps. Also gives the minority leader appointments. And the point of this is to make sure that these maps are drawn fairly, nonpartisan. A lot of states are not in this kind of ridiculous partisan predicament and actually have people that represent them because they have independent commissions that draw these maps. All this amendment does is simply create an independent commission, both Republican and Democrat, to draw these maps. With that, I move consideration.
You've heard the motion, probably seconded. We're voting for consideration of amendment number 11. All those in favor of considering amendment number 11, vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed, vote no. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change their vote? Ms. Clerk, please take the vote.
Ayes 21, 72 nays.
In accordance with Rule 60B, having failed to receive the necessary two-thirds vote, the motion to consider amendment number 11 fails. Next amendment, Mr. Clerk.
House Amendment 12 by Representative Salinas. Mr. Speaker, it was not timely filed.
Representative Salinas, you're recognized.
Republicans and Democrats, independents, all voters are tired of gerrymandering. They know that our system is not working. So this is an anti-gerrymandering amendment. It requires revised congressional districts to remain reasonably compact. That means that we will not have districts that reach from Memphis all the way past Middle Tennessee. And those people are, I move for consideration.
That's a proper motion, properly seconded. We're voting for consideration of Amendment 12. All those in favor vote aye. All those opposed vote no. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change their vote? Mr. Clerk, please take the vote.
Ayes 22, 72 nays.
In accordance with Rule 60B, having failed to receive the necessary two-thirds vote, the motion to consider Amendment 12 fails. Next amendment, Mr. Clark.
House Amendment 13 by Representative Jones and Davidson. Mr. Speaker, it was not timely filed.
Representative Jones, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I said we go under the rule because I can't hear what you're saying.
I can't help that. You need to continue.
The Speaker's ordering the gallery cleared for the record. And so this amendment requires districts to reflect residents and communities rather than a statewide ideology. It's about local representation. Congressional districts are intended to represent people and communities within those districts, not a predetermined statewide ideology. Yes, this is the people's house. This amendment is to say that this is the people's house. It's not Cameron's house. It's not the governor's house. It's the people's house. And so people are being drugged from the gallery for exercising their voice under the state constitution. The state constitution says that non-resistance against arbitrary power is slavish, and that we must resist this type of arbitrary power grab. And so people above me, we can't even hear, they're being taken out by the order of Cameron Sexton. The citizens whose voices are being taken away are being drugged from the galleries all around us. This is what history is going to bear witness to in this moment.
Amendment 13 fails for lack of a motion. Next amendment, Mr. Clerk.
Amendment 4 by Representative Powell. Mr. Speaker, it was not timely filed.
Representative Powell, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is maybe one of the most important American amendments that I'm sponsoring today. It says that we are going to use constitutional restraint, stability and representation, and public confidence in our elections when we draw these maps for our government, which is a representative government. This is a very important principle. In no way, standing with this amendment shows that we believe in representative democracy. We believe in a republic. We believe in voices. There are reasons why we are representatives. There's a reasons why there are congressional districts. It's because we don't live, Congress is not the Senate. The U.S. Congress is not the U.S. Senate. We have representatives that represent districts, and we need to keep it that way. Move for consideration.
You've heard the motion, probably seconded. We're voting for consideration of amendment number 14. All those in favor of considering amendment number 14, vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed, vote no. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change their vote? Mr. Clerk, please take the vote.
Ayes 21, 70 nays.
In accordance with Rule 60B, having failed to receive the necessary two-thirds vote, the motion to consider amendment number 14 fails. Next amendment, Mr. Clerk.
House Amendment 15 by Representative Powell. Mr. Speaker, it was not timely filed.
Representative Powell, you're recognized.
Mr. Speaker, this is about making sure that candidates have adequate time to qualify. As we know, we're going to have to go back and change all the laws, the entire system. We're going to rig the entire system that's existed for years because we're here today. There are people that are already qualified. There are people that have been campaigning. There are people in this body who are already running for these congressional districts. And we're going to make the people have to find, I have an entirely new congressional district. The person doesn't even currently represent my city. is now going to be my congressman. How absurd is that? People have no idea. We don't have time. This is about making sure that people have time to qualify. I move consideration.
You've heard the motion, probably seconded. We're voting for consideration of amendment number 15. All those in favor of considering amendment number 15, vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed, vote no. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to take their vote? Mr. Clerk, please take the vote.
Ayes 23, 73 nays.
In accordance with Rule 60B, having failed to receive the necessary two-thirds vote, the motion to consider amendment number 15 fails. Next amendment, Mr. Clerk.
Amendment 16 by Representative Salinas. Mr. Speaker, is not timely filed.
Representative Salinas, you're recognized.
This amendment is about election stability. It requires the state to finalize maps at least 90 days before qualifying deadlines. This gives candidates notice so that they can make plans. So this should be a bipartisan vote, because who is against? If you vote against this, you're against having candidates have 90 days before their maps are put into place. So this would allow candidates to plan accordingly, to budget accordingly, to reach the right voters at the right time. So with that, I move for consideration.
Proper motion, probably seconded. We're voting for consideration of amendment number 16. All those in favor of considering amendment number 16, vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed, vote no. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change their vote? Mr. Clerk, please take the vote.
Ayes 22, 72 nays.
In accordance with Rule 6B, having failed to receive the necessary two-thirds vote, the motion to consider amendment 16 fails. Next amendment, Mr. Clerk.
House Amendment 17 by Representative Salinas. Mr. Speaker, is not timely filed.
Representative Salinas, you're recognized.
This amendment is about election stability. It requires implementation and minimizing disruption to voters and election officials. Let's not forget that what we are doing is putting a strain on election officials. That is your administrator of elections in your county. It's putting a financial strain. It's putting a lot of work on their plates in the middle of an active election. Let's not forget that we have an active election. They are going to have to reach out to voters and explain to them and then retrain the people that run the elections. This is going to negatively impact everybody. A lot of our voters have to drive far to cast their vote. Public transportation is not good here in Tennessee because we refuse to invest in it. So with that, I move for consideration.
You've heard the motion, probably seconded. We're voting for consideration of amendment number 17. All those in favor of considering amendment number 17, vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed, vote no. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change their vote? Ms. Clerk, please take the vote.
Ayes 22, 71 nays.
In accordance with Rule 6B, having failed to receive the necessary two-thirds vote, the motion to consider amendment number 17 failed. Next amendment, Ms. Clerk.
House Amendment 18 by Representative Powell. Mr. Speaker, is not timely filed.
Representative Powell, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So it's interesting in the discussions yesterday in committee, the census is drawn at the, collected in 2020, redrew those districts for the 2022 elections. Tennessee has dramatically changed its makeup in population, in demographics, since we used that census data. And this simply says that congressional districts established in 2026 must be established based on the residents and communities contained within each district and not upon assumptions regarding a single statewide political or ideological identity. Yesterday it was stated the only reason we're doing this is for politics. That's absurd. That is wrong. And that's it. And we know that's not even right. This is being done because of race. This is being done because of race. It's being done to divide a city. It's now being done to divide my city yet again. I move consideration.
You've heard the motion, probably seconded. We're voting for consideration of amendment number 18. All those in favor of considering amendment number 18, vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed, vote no. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change their vote? Mr. Clerk, take the vote.
Ayes 21, 70 noes.
In accordance with Rule 6B, having failed to receive the necessary two-thirds vote, the motion to consider amendment number 18 fails. Next amendment, Mr. Clerk.
Amendment 19 by Representative Johnson. Mr. Speaker, was not timely filed.
Representative Johnson, you recognize.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This amendment is about decennial stability. It recognizes historic decennial redistricting as promoting democratic legitimacy. It's about public confidence in the things that we do up here, in the drawing of these maps, that we're not drawing them for our own benefit, to keep our seats, because that's what some of these folks are going to be voting for today. They're worried about keeping their power. They are taking advantage of the voters, taking their voice, and they are choosing their voters. Stable congressional districts strengthen confidence in representative government. That's what we need here. We need confidence in this government, because everything we are doing in this special white power session is taking away confidence. So I move adoption.
You've heard the motion, probably second. We're voting for consideration of Amendment 19. All those in favor of considering Amendment number 19, vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed, vote no. Has every member voted? Did any member wish to change their vote? Mr. Clerk, take the vote.
Ayes 19, 72 nays.
In accordance with Rule 6B, having failed to receive the necessary two-thirds vote, the motion to consider Amendment 19 fails. Next amendment, Mr. Clerk.
Amendment 20 by Representative Johnson. Mr. Speaker, was not timely filed.
Representative Johnson, you're recognized. Representative Johnson, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This amendment will add to fairness for everyone, making sure that every voter has their voice heard and it is in a district that it has their voice heard. We need to talk about voter education so that people understand what we're doing. We are doing something to people up here, not for them. Move adoption.
You've heard the motion, probably second. We're voting for consideration of Amendment number 20. All those in favor of considering Amendment number 20, vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed, vote no. As every member voted, does any member wish to change their vote? Mr. Clerk, please take the vote.
Ayes 20, 68 nays.
In accordance with Rule 6B, having failed to receive necessary two-thirds vote, the motion to consider Amendment number 20 fails. Next amendment, Mr. Clerk.
Amendment 21 by Representative Powell. Mr. Speaker, was not timely filed.
Representative Powell, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sometimes when people say in here that we live in a democracy, a lot of people yell at me and say, no, we don't. We live in a republic. Well, then this is one you should all like. All those that yell at me and say we don't live in a democracy, we live in a republic. We do live in a democratic republic, but this says the General Assembly finds that stable and fairly construed congressional districts strengthen Republican self-government and preserve confidence in constitutional representative democracy. It's a very simple principle. It's a very simple principle. We have these congressional districts because each congressman represents, just as we do, districts and people. I move for consideration.
You've heard the motion, probably seconded. We're voting for consideration of Amendment number 21. All those in favor of considering Amendment number 21, vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed, vote no. As every member voted, does any member wish to change their vote? Mr. Clerk, please take the vote.
Ayes 21, 73
In
nays.
accordance with Rule 60B, having failed to receive necessary two-thirds vote, the motion to consider Amendment number 21 fails. Next amendment, Mr. Clerk.
Amendment 22 by Representative Jones and Davis. Mr. Speaker, was not timely filed.
Representative Jones, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to state for the record that the reason why they're not timely filed is that there was no way to file timely considered amendments because we were rushed through this process in less than 24 hours, given less than 24 hours to consider this map. That's why these are untimely for the clerk. And so this amendment recognizes Tennessee's geographic, economic, racial, cultural, and political diversity. It's about inclusive representation and making sure that Tennessee's diverse communities have their well-deserved, meaningful representation. And with that, I move consideration, Mr. Speaker.
You've heard the motion, probably second. We're voting for consideration of Amendment number 22. All those in favor of considering Amendment number 22, vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed, vote no. As every member voted, does any member wish to change their vote? Ms. Clerk, take the vote.
Ayes 16, 72 nays.
In accordance with Rule 60B, having failed to receive necessary two-thirds vote, the motion to consider Amendment number 22 fails. Next amendment, Ms. Clerk.
Amendment 23 by Representative Powell. Mr. Speaker, was not timely filed.
Representative Powell, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's a very important amendment. It says the General Assembly finds that representative democracy functions best when voters choose their representatives in congressional districts remain stable between appointments. This is the whole point of why we do this every 10 years. Is because people need to know who their congressman is. People need to know who their congressperson is. Right now, these maps are going to dramatically change who people's congressmen are. And you know who the ones are going to get all the phone calls? Is everyone in this room. Because they're not going to know, I'm not even going to know, tell my constituents who their congressperson is. If you were to right now, if my constituents call me, I could not tell them who their congressperson is based on these maps. We don't even have that overlay. Think about that. This is absurd. This is absurd. We have people right now applying to the military academies, and their congressperson is going to change. Think about that if you care about our military academies. I move for consideration.
You heard the motion, probably second. We're voting for consideration of amendment number 23. All those in favor of considering amendment number 23, vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed, vote no. As every member voted, as any member wishes to change their vote. Mr. Clerk, take the vote.
Ayes 18, 72 nays.
In accordance with Rule 6B, having failed to receive the necessary two-thirds vote, the motion to consider amendment number 23 fails. Next amendment, Mr. Clerk.
Amendment 24 by Jones and Davison. Mr. Speaker, was not timely filed.
Representative Jones, you recognize.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Again, we're filing amendments because many of us were not put on committees that met to consider this legislation that was forced through in less than 24 hours. And so, again, this is an untimely amendment because there was no way we got the maps within a few hours of the committee meeting. And then we're here the next day voting on maps that we haven't been able to analyze, be able to break down, to be able to understand. And so this amendment is about avoiding fragmentation. It prohibits unnecessary fragmentation of urban, rural, minority, and historically Black communities. It's about community preservation. Communities should not be unnecessarily divided for political purposes. Again, we know what this is about. It's about diluting minority vote. It's about taking us back to pre-1965, pre-Voting Rights Act, an act that was bought with days in jail cells and nights of bomb threats, that was bought with the smack of billy clubs and the blast of fire hoses. Many of you were alive during that time, and perhaps some of you want to take us back to that time. But this amendment is about saying, no, we must move forward toward multiracial democracy and about maintaining the diversity of our state when it comes to race, when it comes to geography, when it comes to urban and rural. And with that, I move for consideration of this amendment, Mr. Speaker.
Untimely nonetheless. You've heard the motion, probably seconded. We're voting for consideration. All those in favor of considering amendment number 24, vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed, vote no. As every member voted, the member wishes to change their vote. Mr. Clerk, take the vote.
Ayes 15, 73 nays, one present, no vote.
In accordance with Rule 6B, having failed to receive the necessary two-thirds vote, the motion to consider amendment number 24 fails. Next amendment, Mr. Clerk.
Amendment 25 by Representative Powell. Mr. Speaker, was not timely filed.
Representative Powell, you recognize.
Mr. Speaker, this simply says the General Assembly finds that stable congressional districts promote public confidence in representative government and preserve constitutional restraint in the exercise of redistricting authority. We set a really dangerous precedent here. Now that we've changed the law, we can come back whenever and change these congressional districts. We set a dangerous precedent in this state, a dangerous precedent. Everybody in this room should stop and think about that. Our president, it's not my president, but the president, does not control the state of Tennessee and how we draw our congressional districts. We're telling people not to have confidence in representative democracy. That is what we are doing right now. This is alarming. And if you stand for representative democracy, I ask for you to vote for this, move for consideration.
For the motion, probably second, we're voting for consideration of amendment number 25. All those in favor of considering amendment number 25, vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed, vote no. As every member voted, as any member wishes to change the vote, Mr. Clerk, please take the vote.
Ayes 19, 71 nays.
In accordance with Rule 6B, having failed to receive the necessary two-thirds vote, the motion to consider amendment number 25 fails. Next amendment, Mr. Clerk.
House Amendment 26 by Representative Salinas. Mr. Speaker, was not timely filed.
Representative Salinas, you're recognized.
Thank you. This amendment is about voter awareness. I don't know if y'all remember the quote of Trump saying that he loves the uneducated. Well, I think we have opportunity to prove him wrong and put something that educates our voters, that lets them know, explains to them about the voting process, making sure that we have civics back into our state, that people are aware, not only what they're voting for, but who they're voting for and what district they're in. So this would require a 60-day period that would allow us to educate voters. Education. We all say that we are passionate about education. Why would we not want our voters to know? It gives us time to have these conversations. So I move for consideration.
For the motion, probably second, we're voting for consideration of amendment number 26. All those in favor of considering amendment number 26, vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed, vote no. As every member voted, as any member wishes to change their vote. Mr. Clerk, please take the vote.
Ayes 18, 71 nays.
In accordance with Rule 6B, having failed to receive the necessary two-thirds vote, the motion to consider amendment number 26 fails. Next amendment, Mr. Clerk.
Amendment 27 by Representative Jones and Davis, Mr. Speaker, was not timely filed.
Representative Jones, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Again, this is untimely because we were given 3 days for a sham process without real deliberation, forced through committee with less than 24 hours notice and of being aware of what these maps were. And now we're on the House floor at 9 a.m. to vote on this racist gerrymander Jim Crow map. And so this amendment is about minority opportunity preservation. It preserves minority voting opportunities required by federal law. It's about Voting Rights Act compliance. Tennessee should preserve minority voting opportunity where required by federal law. We know that this is about race, no matter what the speaker says. His chief of staff went to school in Memphis. He knows it's a majority black city. He was just in Memphis recently. They know it's a majority black city. And if they have questions, they have some members of Shelby County delegation in the Republican caucus who can clearly tell them that it's a majority black city. And yesterday in committee, Representative Lowell wanted to bring up crime in Memphis, clearly racializing this debate when he brought that up in committee, saying that there's crime and this is going to help to weaken crime. So he revealed what the Republican caucus is doing. It's about race. He's given us a basis to know that this is about race. So thank you, Representative Lowell, for doing that. So this is about, once again, Voting Rights Act compliance. And with that, I move for consideration of this amendment.
You heard the motion by second. We're voting for consideration of amendment number 27. All those in favor of considering amendment number 27, vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed, vote no. As every member voted, does any member wish to change their vote? Mr. Clerk, please take the vote.
Ayes 14, 72 nays.
In accordance with Rule 6B, having failed to receive the necessary two-thirds vote, the motion to consider amendment number 27 fails. Next amendment, Mr. Clerk.
Amendment 28 by Representative Powell, Mr. Speaker, was not timely filed.
Representative Powell, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Just so everybody in here knows, and you can't use this excuse anymore, I want to point out Memphis is a majority black city. I know that was brought up yesterday, and people seem to have no clue that Memphis is a majority black city. But honestly, everyone in this room knows that. And so this is a very important bill. It says, prior to final passage of any congressional redistricting plan enacted between apportionments that would apply to the 2026 congressional elections, the General Assembly shall evaluate whether the proposed plan disproportionately fragments, packs, or dilutes minority populations protecting under the Voting Rights Act of 1965. We haven't even evaluated these maps. They're unconstitutional. They're clearly going to be unconstitutional because the Voting Rights Act still stands. The Voting Rights Act still stands. We in here give the budget 24 hours to lay over, but we can't give these maps 24 hours to lay over so we can analyze them. I move for consideration.
You've heard the motion by second. We're voting for consideration of amendment number 28. All those in favor of considering amendment number 28, vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed, vote no. As every member voted, does any member wish to change their vote? Mr. Clerk, please take the vote.
Ayes 19, 70 nays.
In accordance with Rule 6B, having failed to receive the necessary two-thirds vote, the motion to consider amendment 28 fails. Next amendment, Mr. Clerk.
Amendment 29 by Representative Salinas, Mr. Speaker, was not timely filed.
Representative Salinas, you're recognized.
This amendment is about equal representation. So I know not everybody reads the amendment, so I'm going to take the time to read them. It says, it's very simple. The General Assembly recognizes that all Tennessean voters, regardless of political affiliation, race, ethnicity, or geographic location, are entitled to meaningful and effective representation in Congress. So if you want to say that you're not prejudiced, if you want to say that you're not racist, that you care about equality, you will vote yes on this amendment, and I move for consideration.
You've heard the motion, probably seconded. We're voting for consideration of amendment number 29. All those in favor of considering amendment number 29, vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed, vote no. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change their vote? Mr. Clerk, please take the vote.
Ayes 20, 72 nays.
In accordance with Rule 6B, having failed to receive the necessary two-thirds vote, the motion to consider amendment number 29 fails. Next amendment, Mr. Clerk.
Amendment 30 by Representative Johnson, Mr. Speaker, was not timely filed.
Representative Johnson, you recognize.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The key theme of this amendment is local governmental integrity. I'm sorry, wrong one. It's election administration. What we are getting ready to do is going to create chaos in every one of our election commissions. It's also going to cost them a lot of money to make all the changes they're going to have to make in the middle of an election. What this amendment does, it requires implementation minimizing disruption to voters, candidates, and election officials. Election changes should not create chaos for voters or for candidates. Move consideration.
You've heard the motion, probably seconded. We're voting for consideration of amendment number 30. All those in favor of considering amendment number 30, vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed, vote no. As every member voted, does any member wish to change their vote? Mr. Clerk, please take the vote.
Ayes 22, 71 nays.
In accordance with Rule 60B, having failed to receive the necessary two-thirds vote, the motion to consider amendment number 30 fails. Next amendment, Mr. Clerk.
Amendment 31, but Jones and Davidson, Mr. Speaker, is not timely filed.
Representative Jones, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. What is happening to Memphis today has already happened to Nashville. And so as somebody who represents Nashville, it has decreased representation for our community. We get calls from people who are trying to get passports, people trying to get in touch with their relatives with the immigration process. And because we have 3 members of Congress who none of them who live here, none of them who are responsive to our constituents, none of them who have offices here. And so this is about saying that we must prohibit unnecessary fragmentation of minority populations and communities of interest. It's about community integrity. Communities with shared interests should not be unnecessarily fragmented. What you're doing is you're going to create this map that we're looking at. Memphis and Williamson County will have the same congressman. Who do you think they're going to listen to? The people with the money in Williamson County. Who do you think they're going to be responsive to? The people who are their donors in Williamson County. And so they're going to have a whole community that is paying taxes but has no representation. I think some of your forefathers raised some type of Tea Party revolution about that. And so we're here today to say that communities of interest must be maintained because they have specific things that must be considered in policy. And with that, I move for consideration of this amendment.
For the motion, probably second, we're voting for consideration of amendment number 31. All those in favor of considering amendment number 31, vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed, vote no. As every member voted, does any member wish to change their vote? Mr. Clerk, please take the vote.
Ayes 16, 72 nays.
In accordance with Rule 60B, having failed to receive the necessary two-thirds vote, the motion to consider amendment number 31 fails. Next amendment, Mr. Clerk.
Amendment 32 by Representative Johnson, Mr. Speaker, is not timely filed.
Representative Johnson, you recognize.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This amendment is about election preparedness. We're talking about that here because what we're getting ready to do, as I just said with the other amendment, this is going to create chaos in our election commission and confusion for voters and for candidates. This requires certification that election officials have sufficient time and resources. This is going to cost our individual counties a lot of money. Maybe my county, Knox, will be able to afford it, but some of your counties will absolutely not. Election officials should have sufficient time and resources to implement major election changes. We're in a situation where folks out of the country fighting for us will probably not get to vote because they won't have time to get their ballots, and that's wrong. I move consideration.
You've heard the motion, probably seconded. We're voting for consideration of amendment number 32. All those in favor of considering amendment number 32, vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed, vote no. As every member voted, does any member wish to change their vote? Ms. Clerk, please take the vote.
Ayes 21, 73 nays.
In accordance with Rule 6B, having failed to receive the necessary two-thirds vote, the motion to consider amendment number 32 fails. Next amendment, Mr. Clerk.
Amendment 33 by Representative Powell, Mr. Speaker, is not timely filed.
Representative Powell, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This amendment says that if the General Assembly revises the composition of one or more congressional districts for the 26th primary or general election in accordance with Part 2 of this chapter, the General Assembly shall evaluate the impact that the proposed plan may have on voter confusion and election administration prior to the final passage. Again, this is going to cause incredible confusion. Incredible confusion. Many of you now, surely you can vote for this because your county is currently just one congressional district, and now it's multiple congressional districts. Surely you can join me in voting for this because there's confusion. There's confusion. We have a whole new congressperson for Nashville if this passes. This is going to cause unbelievable confusion. In the voter cards, people will often rely on their voter cards. That is totally out the window. So I move for consideration of this amendment.
You've heard the motion, probably seconded. We're voting for consideration of amendment number 33. All those in favor of considering amendment number 33, vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed, vote no. As every member voted, does any member wish to change their vote? Mr. Clerk, please take the vote.
Ayes 18, 73 nays.
In accordance with Rule 60B, having failed to receive the necessary two-thirds vote, the motion to consider amendment number 33 fails. Next amendment, Mr. Clerk.
Amendment 34 by Representative Powell, Mr. Speaker, is not timely filed.
Representative Powell, you recognize.
So this is a very important amendment. If there's any prayer, and there's no prayer for this standing judicial scrutiny, but this is an important amendment because it says the authority to alter congressional districts prior to the 2026 congressional elections must be exercised with constitutional restraint and only where clearly necessary to comply with federal law. We're here. There's been no finding. There's been no federal authority that told us to come back here. No court did that. Our districts have been upheld. As they currently stand, our districts are good. Our districts are good. What we're getting ready to do today is blatantly unconstitutional and a violation of federal law. Everybody should be for this. I move for consideration.
You've heard the motion, probably second. We're voting for consideration of amendment number 34. All those in favor of considering amendment number 34, vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed, vote no. As every member voted, does any member wish to change their vote? Ms. Clerk, please take the vote.
Ayes 22, 73 nays.
In accordance with Rule 6B, having failed to receive the necessary two-thirds vote, the motion to consider amendment number 34 fails. Next amendment, Mr. Clerk.
Amendment 35 by Representative Powell. Mr. Speaker, was not timely filed.
Representative Powell, you're recognized.
So this all started when somebody went on Twitter or social media and put up a map. It was all red, and everybody bent the knee. The Speaker bent the knee, Lieutenant Governor bent the knee, the Governor bent the knee, because this is all about making sure that we no longer have a Congress that reflects the values of Tennesseans. Yes, I'm a Democrat. We have well over 40% of our state Democrats. Well over. We have multiple Democrats. But yet you're going to take a state and make it all red because of some tweet and pressure you've gotten from the White House? Come on. This prevents that. That keeps real congressional. I move consideration.
You've heard the motion, probably second. We're voting for consideration of amendment number 35. All in favor of considering amendment number 35, vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed, vote no. As every member voted, does any member wish to change their vote? Ms. Clerk, please take the vote.
Ayes 18, 73 nays.
In accordance with Rule 6B, having failed to receive the necessary two-thirds vote, the motion to consider amendment number 35 fails. Next amendment, Mr. Clerk.
Amendment 36 by Representative Salinas. Mr. Speaker, was not timely filed.
Representative Salinas, you're recognized.
This amendment has to do with election stability, and I'm going to call this amendment the Representative Johnny Garrett amendment, because what it does is that it makes it that maps have to be in place 180 days before candidate qualifying deadlines. So this brings stability to our elections for all the candidates that have worked hard to get on the ballot. So with that, I hope that y'all honor your colleague and vote for my amendment. I move for consideration.
You've heard the motion, probably second. We're voting for consideration of amendment number 36. All in favor of considering amendment number 36, vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed, vote no. As every member voted, does any member wish to change their vote? Mr. Clerk, take the vote.
Ayes 20, 72 nays, one present, not voting.
In accordance with Rule 60B, having failed to receive the necessary two-thirds vote, the motion to consider amendment number 36 fails. Next amendment, Mr. Clerk.
Amendment 37 by Representative Pearson. Mr. Speaker, was not timely filed.
Representative Pearson, you recognize.
The Voting Rights Act was the most significant piece of legislation to make American democracy reach towards its ideals. Its gutting in Calais and the actions across the South to take away representation from Black majority communities is wrong and is immoral. In the state of Tennessee, which has the lowest voter engagement and participation of any state in the United States of America, here we need a Voting Rights Act, and we need to protect individuals' right to vote not as a privilege, but truly as a fundamental right of this American constitutional democratic republic experiment. The truth of the matter is what is happening now is wrong. It is unjust. It is unfair. It takes away our community's ability to elect representatives of their choosing, and instead has made this state house the arbiter of democracy. We need a Voting Rights Act in the state of Tennessee, and that is exactly what this legislation aims to do. We need to protect people's right to vote. We need to protect our community's right to engage in this process. And so with that, I move for consideration.
You've heard the motion, probably second. We're voting for consideration of amendment number 37. All those in favor of considering amendment number 37, vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed, vote no. As every member voted, does any member wish to change their vote? Ms. Clerk, please take the vote.
Ayes 19, 73 nays.
In accordance with Rule 60B, having failed to receive the necessary two-thirds vote, the motion to consider amendment number 37 fails. Next amendment, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Speaker, no further amendments.
Leader Lamberth, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I renew my motion.
Leader Lamberth renews his motion. Leader Camper, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I would yield 4 minutes to Representative Freeman.
Representative Freeman, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And members, I just kind of want to talk through a little bit about what this bill is doing. I know it's been fast, a lot of changes. There was an amendment that was put on it late. So I just want to make sure that everybody understands what we're doing. We are shortening the time that it requires a candidate to qualify for office. And it's just for this one election. If it made sense, let's change it forever. But it didn't. We're just doing it for this one instance because we're coming back, hurriedly changing the maps so that the supermajority can pick up a seat. The only saving grace for me is that idiot down south no longer represents me in Congress. That's the only upside for me. But outside of that, we are now taking away the only majority-minority district in the state of Tennessee. And the reason that that's significant is because we don't listen to minorities in this state, right? We're not listening to what they want and need. We're telling them what we're going to do, and that's not right. We have an opportunity right now to vote against that map, to vote against this, to keep this, keep the maps the way they are, and make sure that the only majority-minority district in the state of Tennessee has representation, that they have someone that is listening to them, that they have someone that is doing what they want. When we voted on the maps a couple of years ago, I said, when you split up Nashville, you're going to have 3 members that don't live in Nashville that are going to use Nashville as a punching bag. And that's what's happened. They use us as a punching bag. We are a means to an end for political gains. And we're going to do it with the majority-minority district. We're better than this. We can do better. I'm amazed that we're here a couple weeks after we left to do this. So thank you.
Leader Camper.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I yield 4 minutes to Representative McKenzie.
Representative McKenzie, you're recognized for 4 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So, for those of us of a certain age, there was a TV show called Happy Days. And Happy Days was, show based in the 50s, and it was all about jukeboxes and, race cars. And there was a character called Fonzarello. They called him Fonzie. Fonzie was a cool guy. And so this was a really, really popular show starring Ron Howard and, all those folks. But what happened, the show kept going on and they kind of ran out of things to talk about. And they ran out of subject matter. So they ended up going a little too long. And they ended up with Albert Fonzarello, Fonzie, in swim trunks and a leather jacket on water skis, jumping a shark. And that became a thing. That became a term. Don't jump the shark. Don't stay around too long. Don't keep going with episodes because it's paying you money to the point that you're doing something so ridiculous as having a man jump a shark. And there are people that term is used in Hollywood and all kind of places even today. There are people that use that term that don't have a clue why they're using that term. That's what we're doing here today. We are jumping a shark. You've heard all of this. We've jumped through all manner of hoops. We've done away with laws that are older than I am, older than probably half the membership in here, for nefarious and racial reasons. That's what we're doing. We have come here today. We have spent this $2 million of our people's money to come here and do something, to do someone else's bidding. That to me is a shame. So let's fast forward to today. So what we're looking at is the Speaker, Lieutenant Governor, the Governor are trying to tell us that they happen to get this thing right, and they're right for them, by splitting Memphis up in a perfectly racial, African American equal way. They managed, it wasn't done for race. They didn't put in race, didn't go. But they got within 1 percentage point splitting a city up, and I lived 2 years in Memphis, and the African American population is concentrated, but it's spread out across there. They got it to within 1 percentage point. Ladies and gentlemen, statistically, the chances of doing that is you hitting the Powerball twice. You got a better chance of doing that than hitting these numbers. So that's a lie. That just didn't happen. They took race into consideration, period. Another historical point, the whole term gerrymandering, there was a governor in Massachusetts, Governor Jerry, that created a district that looked like a salamander. So that's where the term comes from. So what this leadership is now telling you, we've gerrymandered Memphis for political reasons. That's not how the 9th district came to be. The 9th district came to be because it's continuous. It's the only one that's just concentrated within basically a county. So you can't tell yourself that this didn't happen for racial reasons. It's an assault on African Americans.
Leader Camper, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I yield 3 minutes to Representative Clemens.
Chairman Clemens, you're recognized.
Thank you, Speaker, and thank you, Leader Camper. I have a couple of questions. This bill considers notice issues and notice deadlines. Are the notice deadlines referred to in this bill going to refer to changing the deadlines in all 95 counties in every congressional district?
Leader Lambert.
Yes, that is my understanding. There is also a grandfather clause that for those that have already qualified to run for Congress, they do not have to do anything if they're remaining within the district they qualified in. If they are for some reason in a different district or wish to run in a different district, they would have to notify the Secretary of State.
Chairman Clemens.
Thank you. And my concern here is the confusion of voters. I think people in all 95 counties don't know exactly what we're doing up here, but they know we're redrawing district lines. And so to the extent that everyone is going to be wondering or scratching their head what happened up here today and whether or not their congressional district changed or if it didn't, I think we do need to make sure that all voters in all 95 counties receive some sort of notice within a respective timeline to ensure whether or not they remain in the same congressional district. The reimbursement after the submission of cost to the county election commissions, if they submit cost to this body that have not been accounted for to the state of Tennessee, coordinator of elections or the Secretary of State's office, what is their reimbursement procedure if the state does not satisfy their request?
Leader Lambert.
Thank you. And again, that qualifying deadline would end at noon on May the 15th for either new candidates that wish to qualify or candidates that wish to re-qualify on your prior question. So May 15th at noon. And I would encourage candidates to go ahead and get their paperwork in. The parties have 2 days after that to determine whether or not to remove someone. The reimbursement rate is to be submitted to the Secretary of State and the comptroller who will evaluate those to ensure that obviously it is reimbursable under this section. I hope that answers your question. I know we're limited time.
Chairman Clemens.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So my question was to what's their recourse if they don't get the adequate reimbursement? Because I want to make sure we're protecting the fiscal integrity of these local governments' budgets. But here's my other thing. In this bill, there's a provision in here that says a candidate who qualified, let's say under District A, who will now live in District B is treated differently than a candidate who qualified in District A and still lives in District A. There seems to be a disparate treatment between candidates who qualified for the same office, which is really concerning. You also have an issue where there's a provision in there and an allowance, an exception for those candidates who will still qualify, even though their district got completely changed. They just happen to reside in the same district. So they've been qualified by voters who no longer even live in that district, which defeats the very purpose and intent of a candidate qualifying petition. Those seem to be legal issues that I'm concerned with.
Leader Lambert. Oh, I'm sorry. Leader Camper.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to hear this answer, so I'll yield 30 seconds.
You have 50. That's good. You want all 50?
30 seconds.
30 seconds. All right,
Thank you,
Leader
Mr.
Lambert, you're recognized. Leader Lambert.
Thank you, Madam Leader and Speaker. It's hard for me to say anything 30 seconds, but I'll try. This new part is repealed on December the 31st. On the reimbursement, it makes it clear that the Secretary of State shall review those expenses. The Comptroller's Office is then a part of that process as well. I don't think there's any disparate treatment here. And I will say to any candidates that have already qualified, I recommend that you requalify because if for some reason some court interprets this differently than it is written, I hope they will interpret it exactly as it's written. There's a grandfather clause in, but I encourage them to requalify.
Leader Camper.
I reclaim the balance of my time.
Very good. Leader Lambert. You have 10. Leader Lambert.
I renew my motion.
Leader Lambert, in his motion, we're voting. All those in favor of House Bill 7001 as amended, vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed, vote no. As every member voted, does any member wish to change their vote? Mr. Clerk, please take the vote.
Aye, 68, 25 nays.
House Bill 7001 having received a constitutional majority, I hereby declare it passed without objection. The motion reconsider is tabled. Call up next bill, Mr. Clerk.
House Bill 5 by Chairman Williams relative to appropriations.
Chairman Williams, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move passage of House Bill 7005 on third and final consideration.
Chairman Williams moves passage. Following second, Mr. Clerk, call up First Amendment.
House Finance, Ways and Means Committee Amendment number 1.
Vice Chairman Crawford, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This amendment rewrites the bill. I move to adopt and defer to the sponsor for further explanation.
Vice Chairman Crawford moves adoption of Committee Amendment number 1. Probably seconded. Any discussion on amendment? Seeing none. All those in favor of Committee Amendment number 1 say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. The ayes have it. You adopted. Next amendment, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Speaker, no further amendments.
Chairman Williams, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This appropriation bill funds 100% of the local expenditures associated with the implementation of House Bill 7003 and appropriates a sum sufficient for paying the expenses of this special session. With that, Mr. Speaker, I renew my motion.
Chairman Williams renews his motion. Any discussion on the bill? Representative McCalman, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Move previous question.
Previous question being called. Is there objection? There's objection. We're on the board. All those in favor of previous question, vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed, vote no. As every member voted, does any member wish to change their vote? Mr. Clerk, please take the vote.
Aye, 73, 22 nays.
Previous question prevails. We're voting. All those in favor of House Bill 7005 as amended, vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed, vote no. As every member voted, does any member wish to change their vote? Mr. Clerk, please take the vote.
Aye, 69, 23 nays, 4 present. I'll
House
vote.
Bill 7005 having received a constitutional majority, I declare it passed without objection. The motion reconsider is tabled. Mr. Clerk, call up next bill.
House Bill 3 by Representative Zachary and others relative to congressional districts.
Deputy Speaker Zachary, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move passage of House Bill 7003 on third and final consideration.
Deputy Speaker Zachary moves passage. Probably seconded. Mr. Clerk, call up First Amendment.
House Congressional Redistricting Committee Amendment number 1.
Chairman Farmer, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Move to adopt.
Chairman Farmer moves adoption. Committee Amendment number 1. Probably seconded. Any discussion on amendment? Seeing none. All those in favor of Committee Amendment number 1 say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. The ayes have it. You adopted. Next amendment, Mr. Clerk.
House Amendment 2 by Representative Johnson, Mr. Speaker, was not timely filed.
Representative Johnson, you're recognized.
Okay, do I say that? Do I say that? Thank you, Mr. Speaker. What this amendment does is when we are establishing congressional districts pursuant to subsection crime statistics, arrest data, and generalized public safety assertions must not be utilized as a basis for fragmenting, diminishing, or diluting the representational influence. I believe we had someone in committee use that as a reason for these maps. That was Representative Lowell Russell. I think that's important, but crime statistics and arrest data should not be used. I move consideration.
You've heard the motion. Probably second. We're voting on consideration of amendment number 2. All those in favor of considering amendment number 2, vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed, vote no. As every member voted, does any member wish to change their vote? Mr. Clerk, please take the vote.
Ayes 18, 73 nays.
In accordance with Rule 6B, having failed to receive the necessary 2/3 vote, the motion to consider amendment number 2 fails. Next amendment, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Speaker, no further amendments.
Leader Camper, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I yield 5 minutes to Chairman Clemens.
Chairman Clemens, you're recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I realize you did, the person in the well didn't run this bill yesterday, but here's my question. Yesterday, Speaker Sexton was asked about who drafted this bill and how this came about. He pointed to the Senate sponsors, Senator Stevens, Senator Johnson. Yesterday, Senator Stevens was asked the question, what numbers were relied upon to draw these maps? And his answer was pretty conclusive that it was census data. So, and Section 1 here refers to all census descriptions, so forth. So is that correct that the census data was the sole basis for drawing these lines from 2020?
Speaker Zachary.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yes, it's my understanding the census was used to draft the map you have in front of you.
Chairman Clemens.
Based on the population.
Okay, well, that's pretty interesting because census data doesn't include any partisan scores or partisan data. And your entire argument this entire week has been that this is about politics and partisanship. So if you solely relied on census data, I'm confused about how you knew partisan scores when drawing this map, if that wasn't even considered.
Speaker Zachary.
Thank you. Did you have a question?
Chairman Clemens.
If that's your answer, that is fine by me, and that is all I need. Thank you very much. I yield the balance of my time.
Leader Camper, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I yield 4 minutes to Representative Shaw.
Representative Shaw, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I didn't rise today to be emotional, not upset. I'm here to say that this is my second go-round. I'm standing here today because my dad went out to register to vote, but he never got a chance to vote. But I'm standing here today because he didn't get a chance. I feel that it's my responsibility to take up the mantle and run with it. I did get a chance to vote. But all of my life, voting has been a problem with the other side. From childhood to this moment, and this probably is the last time I'm going to get a chance to stand in this well and talk. But here's what I will tell you all this. You're not stopping anything. It's been tried over. In fact, my dad, when he registered to vote, he had to move to a government tent city because they put him out of a place to live. I remember one Friday evening, he came home and announced to us, we got to move. And we said, why? He said, because I registered to vote. We got to move. Where are we going to move? We have no place to move, but we got to go to tent city. This was Friday. But because we knew someone higher than the government, we called a family prayer. And from Friday evening late to early Monday morning, we had a place to stay. So what I'm telling you folks today is, it doesn't matter what you pass, how you draw maps. It doesn't matter how you can draw them any way you want to. You cannot stop God's people. Trust me. If you don't ever hear me say anything else, even if you get to attend my funeral, if I'm dead and gone, you remember this one thing. You are not doing anything but hurting yourself. And listen, at the midnight hour, because we normally like to blame everything on everybody else. You know, I'm bad about saying somebody else made me angry. No. You have to live with yourself. And at midnight, when nobody else is in your room but you yourself, you got to live with you. And if you can sleep, if you can go to sleep, close your eyes and rest that night after doing what you're doing, you do it. But I can tell you this one thing. There's a man that's higher than all of us. And he's looking down on us right now. And you can just remember this. This old black guy told you before he left here, you ain't hurting nobody but yourself. God bless you, and we'll all be okay.
Leader Camper.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I yield 4 minutes to Representative Miller.
Representative Miller.
Speaker Sexton and to Leader Lambert and to the chairmen of the Standing Committee. That question has been asked, why are we here? And you know, I'm thinking about why are we here? And I said, okay, the governor gets a call or email via would-be governor, God forbid, Blackburn, and the president says to the governor, I need a few thousand votes. We've heard this before, right? I need a few thousand votes because I want to flip the Democratic seat, 9th congressional seat in Shelby County. I want to make it bleed. I want to make it bleed, but I want to flip it to a Republican. That came from a convicted felon. It came from probably one of the worst presidents in the history of the United States, a corrupt president. Amazing. It's almost demonic. It's almost devious. And it's definitely devilish. So what happens at this point? We say we want to continue this golden age of President Donald Trump. Now, these are the words that come from our senior senator. It's almost insane. And as my colleague has said, people will remember, your constituency will remember the worst things that you will do. Not often the good things that you would do, but they will remember the worst things that you do. And depending on this vote that you take today, you have to live with this. You have to live with this vote. And sometimes being here long enough, I can make predictions. And I have a prediction of what's going to happen on this vote. But I have another prediction. You have to live with it. You have to live with it. And regardless of what you do from this point on, whatever bills you may introduce, this one, this vote, your constituency, my constituent, will remember. Because I don't think that you've gotten a ton of emails, phone calls from your constituents saying, do this, follow the President of the United States, follow a Stephen Miller. And when you look at their ratings, approval ratings of the President of the United States, it's the lowest of probably of any president in the United States. And you want to follow that? You want to follow that? You want your name, you want your signature on this legislation? You better think about it. Thank you.
Leader Camper.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I yield 4 minutes to Chairman Chisholm.
Representative Chisholm, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To my colleague in the well, I have a few questions. So if you will indulge me. So state government, we have a map in place now that was defended in court. It said it did not dilute minority voters. So why would this plan replace one that was already backed by this body?
Speaker Zachary.
Representative, repeat that last part again. I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Representative Chisholm.
Well, I was stating that we have a map that was defended in court now. So why would this plan right here replace the one that's in place?
Speaker Zachary.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, it's important to know that the map that you have in front of you was drafted based on the census population related to the last census, but it was absolutely drafted on politics based on court rulings. This gives us a unique opportunity to, for the first time in history, to have an all-Republican delegation sent from Tennessee to Washington, D.C. to represent conservative values, to represent conservative principles. And this gives us a historic opportunity, and so we're taking advantage of that as the supermajority in this body. So that's why we're doing it.
Representative Chisholm.
Yes, so I try to be concise, and I pray that you do the same. How does this map comply with the 14th Amendment's Equal Protection Clause?
Speaker Zachary.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We drafted this under consultation with legal, and we're confident that this meets the criteria that we're required to by law and the Constitution to draft maps.
Representative Chisholm.
Okay, so many of us are still confused. So whose legal consultation drew the map?
Speaker Zachary.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Senate was the primary drafter of the map with consultation and input and collaboration with the House.
Representative Chisholm.
Well, thank you for that. So, map makers, they're skilled in using proxies such as urban areas and people who live predominantly near Black churches or schools. And they can use algorithms as well. So were proxies used to identify racial demographics?
Speaker Zachary.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Representative, again, as I stated earlier, the criteria used to draft this map was politics and population based on the census data.
Representative Chisholm.
Well, I'm curious, was the word urban used in drawing this map?
Speaker Zachary.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Again, this map was drafted based on politics, based on population, and the opportunity for the first time in history for us to send an entire Republican delegation from Tennessee to represent the state in Washington, D.C.
Representative Chisholm.
So how does this map not cause voter confusion in primary election that's already going on?
Speaker Zachary.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I trust the people of Tennessee who are informed, who have plenty of time before they go to vote in August, to be informed about who their candidates are going to be.
Representative Chisholm.
Thank you. Well, let me say this. I know you probably think that it's our or my constituents that are not informed, but let me caution, many of your constituents are not informed either. So I have to, let me speak to the humanity of everyone in the room if I can for the next 10 seconds. This is not a good thing for my district nor yours. It's going to hurt more than it help you. And I think history is going to show that the wrong thing was done today. Thank you.
Leader Camper.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I would like to yield 3 minutes to Representative Hakeem.
Representative Keem, you're recognized for 3 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I guess I rise with the feeling that there's an effort on some people in this room to play with God. We profess in this body to be servants of God. But do we treat each other with respect and understanding? Now, I'm one of those people who's born in Tennessee. I'm probably one of the oldest people in this room. I know what happened in the 50s and 60s. I was exposed to it. I went to jail at 13 because a man wanted to run over me in his car. He wound up in the hospital. I wound up in jail. And what I'm trying to say is, do we truly believe in a power higher than ourselves? I mean, I go to Bible study with some in this room, and are you going to tell me that taking the rights away from others is what God has put in your mind or what you should be doing? Do we fear God or do we fear man? And when I say do we fear man, are we saying that the position I have, the position that's been promised to me, is more important than my faith in a power greater than myself? Look, people, I was born and raised in the South. I know what it is to go through a lot of the things that some people want to re-implement today. And there are those among us, including myself, not again. They ain't going through it. God put me here for a purpose in this legislature, to let you know that what has been is not going to be. We are here to work with you to make this state a better place. But we're not going to take mess off of anybody. I would hope many in this room, similar to me, I came up in what was called the ghetto. There are some in here who grew up in a trailer park. Listen, folks, just because you didn't live on the mountain, just because you didn't live in the suburbs, don't make you any less than anybody else. And I would hope that people of goodwill will remember where you come from, where you need to go to be God-centered. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Leader Camper, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to yield 2 minutes to Representative Hardaway.
Representative Hardaway, you're recognized for 2 minutes.
First, I'd like to thank the representative body for providing a welcoming community. My father stood on this bill as something that directly impacted his constituents. And the majority of the people in this room, your constituents, will have representation. In my current position as a representative, on their behalf, a body of people who have already been disadvantaged are threatened with more disadvantages. Now, how do we rationalize the majority of everyone in this room being represented, taxation without representation, on my part, is now blatant? I return the balance of my time.
Leader Camper.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I yield 3 minutes to Representative Harris.
Representative Harris, you're recognized for 3 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and to the sponsor. Members, the fix is already in. We already just heard our sponsor just say it, that this will allow them to have, for the first time, an opportunity to send the full delegation of Republican leadership to the White House, to be able to represent us in Congress. That fix is already in. They know that by changing these maps, that the decisions will be made at the voting box, that they will win the extra seats. We lose our power. I have to stand here because earlier in committee on yesterday, it was said that this was based off of political desire. But I have to say it as a black man who lives in Memphis, as a black man who lives in Congressional District 9, that I lose part of my voting power by this piece of map. You cannot celebrate democracy while carving out black communities apart from political advantage. We all know it, whether we say it or not, that this map impacts Black people negatively. In fact, I'll say it like this, that after the Civil War, Black Americans had finally gained the right to be able to vote on paper. Some did not like that. They could not outright say that Black people should not vote anymore. So instead, they put in things like a poll tax, like a literacy exam, intimidation, drawing maps just like the ones that has been drawn today. We're diluting the Black voice. We are diluting the Black voice. That's why the 15th Amendment mattered so much. It was not just about Black people casting a ballot. It was about protecting the voice of Black people from being intentionally diluted. The people who championed the 15th Amendment believed that democracy could not survive if states manipulated the system to silence Black voices. And now here we are in 2026, watching efforts to dismantle the only majority Black congressional district in Tennessee. So when people ask why this matters so much, the answer is very, very simple. It's because history has already shown us that what happens when Black people's voices become inconvenient to those in control. This new map shows by diluting our Black voting power. So, sponsor, I ask that if the Supreme Court decided to say that a $2 poll tax was okay, and the governor called us back in, would we be okay with passing legislation to move a $2 poll tax?
Leader Camper, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I yield 5 minutes to Representative Parkinson.
Representative Parkinson, you're recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is a very serious moment. This is an historic moment, actually. You cannot separate this vote from the historical reality of race in Tennessee and the American South. Memphis is not merely just a geographic region. It is a cultural, economic, and it is the center of Black life in Shelby County and in Tennessee. I want you to think about this. Nearly half of the Black population in the state of Tennessee lives in Memphis and Shelby County. Nearly half. How can we sit here and say that this is not about race when nearly half of the Black people in the state of Tennessee live in that corner of Tennessee that you are deciding to carve into 3 different congressional race spaces, when right now there's only one, and all of those Black people that live in that corner of Tennessee, nearly half of the state's Black population are sitting in one congressional district. How can you say this is not about race? Black representation in this state was not given freely. It was fought for, it was sacrificed for, protest, and generations of struggle. This chamber must decide whether the Black voice of Tennessee deserves protection. You cannot celebrate Dr. King in January and then turn around and kill the Black voice of Tennessee in May. Let's talk about Christian values. The highest Christian value is love of thy neighbor. And love does not silence communities. Love does not divide people or weaken their voice. Love does not benefit from a community while diminishing its representation. If we truly believe in Christian principles of loving our neighbor, then we cannot justify weakening the voice of nearly half of the Black population in the state of Tennessee. Some of you have Black neighbors. Some of you have Black friends. Some of you have Black family members. So how do you tell them what you did to the people that look just like them? Some of you say that you're my friend. But when I ask you if you're going to take this vote, you can't even look me in the eye. The shame is all over your face. You look down, you look away, but you will not look at me and tell me, yes, I'm about to push this button and vote to take your voice away. Hey, the Lord sees your heart, can't hide from it. And he also sees your lack of courage. But here's something for you. God does not deliver the spirit of fear. So if God doesn't deliver the spirit of fear, then that spirit came from somewhere else. Let me close with this. If this body believes that Memphis should not have the right to elect representation reflective of its own community, then perhaps the legislature should explain why Memphis should continue to be part of the state of Tennessee. A government that benefits from the people while weakening their political power creates the appearance of representation without self-determination. Don't hide behind the maps, and if that is the case, let me make it easier for you. Let Memphis secede from the state of Tennessee. You don't have to redraw maps when you let us out. Let my people go. And I'm dead ass serious. If you don't, you're constantly beating on us, allow us out.
Leader Camper, you recognize.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I yield 5 minutes to Representative Towns.
Representative Towns, you're recognized for 5 minutes.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. Thank you. Like my colleagues, I would have to ditto everything that's been said today. Men, especially on the floor, I want y'all to think about something. Let's go down this historical trek with me. The American War of 1775, the Indian War of 1789, the Barbary War of 1805 to 1815, the War of 1812, the Mexican-American War, 1846 to 1848, American Civil War, which we talk about all the time. Some people are still fighting that war, 1861 to 1865, Spanish-American War, 1898, the Philippine-American War, 1899-1902, World War I, 1917 to 1918, World War II, 1941 to 45, Korean War, 1950 to 53, the Vietnam War, 64 to 65, Persian Gulf War, 1990 to 91, the War on Terror, 2001, one of our longest wars to 221, Iraq War, 2003 to 2011. Men, let's imagine you all as men have fought in every one of those wars. You fought in every one of those wars. Let's imagine you come back to a country that won't allow you to vote. Let's imagine a country that you fought in every one of their wars, and you come back to a country and you're considered a 3/5 human. Now, with all the imagination that we're imagining today, let's imagine that you're white, that you were a white man that were denied your rights after fighting all of the wars that I just listed. Imagine that you were white as a man, and you've given up blood, treasure, life, family and limb and ideas and everything, and you return to a country that some men were in their uniforms and murdered, but you dedicated yourself to the country because you were loyal to the country. This is not hyperbole. These are facts. This is a history that has occurred. Now, anyone in their right mind would be insane to say that's proper treatment. That's not Christian treatment. That's fake Christian treatment. That's diabolical. That's diabolical treatment. But this is happening in this country. And now we want to play peekaboo. We want to put our head in the sand and act like it doesn't happen. We want to play peekaboo with the lives of the people in this country. Somewhere we've taken an oath that says we're not supposed to do injurious things to each other in the state of Tennessee. We took that oath. Recently we heard that. There are people on the outside of all stripes protesting what we're trying to do in here, attempting to do. You got blacks on the outside, whites on the outside, Spanish, Indians, Jews. You got everything on the outside in this gallery saying, stop, hold on. What you're doing is absolutely not democratic. It's not even American. But yet we want to travel and trek forward to do something that is what? Injurious to the people, which is something we say we're not supposed to do. But we're doing it anyway, or trying to do it anyway. The world certainly is watching America. Better yet, the world is watching Tennessee. All those ideals that we espoused across the water, they know we're lying. You can't fool the people. They'll know we are lying because you're saying one thing and we do another. That's called a bald-faced lie where I grew up from. That's what my grandmother called a bald-faced lie. We're lying to the people. We're lying to ourselves. We're lying to our children. We're lying. You don't need an advantage when you already have the advantage. What do you need an advantage for? You weigh 2,000 pounds. The other man weighs 20 pounds. You're going to beat up on him and take the little thing that he has? That's cowardice. That's weakness. That is not what men do. Men of honor, men of valor, men of commitment don't play it that way. I don't want to win if it's an unfair fight. I don't need you to stack the deck for me. We call that being sissified where I come from. I don't need you to stack the deck, but we're stacking the deck because you want one mode of thought. Everybody got to think the same. That's how we got our butt kicked with 2011. Everybody thinking the same thing. Nobody's watching you think. How do you expect for this country and black folk to be loyal to you when you're not loyal to even his voting rights?
Leader Camper, you recognize.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to yield a minute to Representative Powell.
Representative Powell, you're recognized for 1 minute.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On November 6, 2012, I was first elected to this body, and I cried tears of joy and happiness that night. And it wasn't because I was elected to this body. I cried because our first black president, Barack Obama, was reelected for his second term. I celebrated the movement and forwardness of our country, and look where we stand today. It's a shame. I will be in a district where black, African Americans, Hispanic, Latinos, Asian Americans are all concentrated. And it's clearly been packed together in Nashville. I'm the only state elected Democrat in the entire 6th district. And they packed communities together. This is about politics. Let's be clear. This is about politics. The only politics, though, are racial politics. This is all about racial politics.
Leader Camper, you recognize.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I yield 3 minutes to Representative Mitchell.
Representative Mitchell, you recognize for 3 minutes.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Leadership and power, being in the majority, comes with responsibilities. Also comes with the good sense of not knowing when not to do things. Just because you have the power doesn't mean you ought to do it sometimes. You know, this week when the governor made the call and you know, I heard all the groups getting ready to come down here. You know, many of y'all seen over the years, you know, I've got a young kid. He's a freshman at Vandy. He decided he wanted, you know, I heard there was going to be a little rowdy down here. So I told him, I said, son, I just don't think you ought to come down here this week. he looked at me and said, "Try and stop me." So I think, that being said, I knew I'd raised my child right. And I'll tell you one thing, you don't worry about your constituents. Worry about going home and looking at your children after you vote today. Will you be proud to tell them how you voted today? Just think about that when you look at these buttons on which one you're going to push here today. Think about what you'll tell your kids you did up here. Did you come take people's power and their voice away like Bull Connor standing on a bridge? Did you sick German shepherds on someone? Did you turn the water hoses on someone? Or did you give a community their voice? A man died in Memphis, Tennessee, and that's the only way Voting Rights Act got passed. Only way it happened. And we're going to turn back the clock? I know how I'm going to vote. And I'm going to be proud to go home and tell my kids how I voted. I hope you can too. Reverend Shaw, like he said, you only hurting yourself. You're not hurting anybody but yourself. Bottom line of this is, unlike these lines that were drawn by race, the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice.
Leader Kemper, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I yield 4 minutes to Representative Pearson.
Representative Pearson, you're recognized for 4 minutes.
These maps are racist tools of white supremacy at the behest of the most powerful white supremacist in the United States of America, Donald J. Trump. Memphis is the most beautiful place on the planet. It's the place that raised me, my brothers, my parents, my grandmothers, and where my ancestors' bones rest. And what you are doing today is eviscerating the only Black majority congressional district in our state because we are majority Black. We are here because this Republican Party has to seek to steal elections and seats, because the president and the party have refused to address the pain, the suffering, and the struggling of everyday Tennesseans. This is about attacking, targeting, and cracking District 9 into pieces for more political and racial dominance and white supremacy in the state of Tennessee. And we need to realize that the Calais decision that you all are basing your decisions off of, that gutted the Voting Rights Act, that Voting Rights Act was paid in blood. It was not just a parchment of paper signed into law. It was paid in blood on the Edmund Pettus Bridge. Paid in blood by Medgar Evers, paid in blood by Fannie Lou Hamer. It's been paid in blood year over year, time after time, assassination after assassination, lynching after lynching, so that more people might be able to ascertain access to this constitutional democratic republic experiment that is currently being gutted and seeking to be gutted by this chamber, by this House, this Senate, and this state. What is happening here is immoral and wrong. And I was reading my Bible early this morning, asking God why this is happening. Why, again, does it seem that white supremacy is seeming to gain? Why, again, does it seem like the pillars of pain that we have felt and experienced for over 400 years in this country continue to rise again? And whispered in the words of this Bible and in the words of those ancestors that have gone before us is just these simple words: we're still here. we are still here. This nation, this state has legislated and legalized the worst things in humanity, including our enslavement, and we are still here. Right in this country where, as one black woman said, your ancestors enslaved us, denied us of our rights, called us 3/5 of a person, and yet we are still here. You put us on cotton plantations and tobacco plantations. You denied our human rights and our right to exist as children of God, and we are still here. You destroyed Tulsa. You killed and lynched black folks on poplar trees. Shelby County, Tennessee had the most lynchings of anywhere in this state where you're taking this district, and we are still here. You've had 3 strikes laws, mass incarceration, denied us of who we are, and we are still here. And today you'll take the only majority black district from us. But I want you to know, and I want my nephew, sons, and the future to know, no matter what you do, no matter how much you try and break us and make us bend and make us quit, we will still be here.
Leader Camper, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to yield 3 minutes to Representative Love.
Representative Love, you're recognized for 3 minutes.
Thank you, Speaker. Members, my father was born September the 8th, 1919. He served in World War II, fought for the freedoms of this country. But when he came back, his right to vote was not guaranteed. It wasn't until after the Voting Rights Act that his right to vote was guaranteed. He was elected in 1968 and served in this chamber to 1994. He served with former Speaker Pro Tem Lois DeBerry. And I've talked to many of you all who have served with her. And I've heard your statements about how fondly you appreciate her life and how she legislated. And I wonder today, if she were alive and serving in this chamber, could you look her in the face and say to her that what you are about to do is right, is just, is moral? Could you say to her, my colleague, I gotta do it so we can look beyond your part of the state? I don't know what's worse, to not think about black folks, or to say that you haven't and not tell the truth. So oftentimes we have discussions about race, about racism. Many times you all have difficulty accepting that we have pain still in our hearts because of the vestiges of slavery, the stuff that's left over, the little things that you might not pay attention to, the microaggressions that we feel, the votes that are cast that still rip the scab off. So here we are again with another bill that members are saying to you is hurtful to us because it says to us, you are disregarding how I think, how I feel, how this bill will impact me. It hurts. It does. Because many of us have said, in these hallowed halls, we legislate. We're about to do some more damage to black folks with this vote.
Leader Camper.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I would yield myself 2 minutes, 35 seconds.
Leader Camper, you're recognized for 2 minutes and 35 seconds.
Mr. Speaker, members, I served in the Army for 21 years. to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Bear the true faith and allegiance to the same. I took a similar oath when I came here to uphold the U.S. Constitution and the state constitution and not be injurious to the people. I took that oath. It meant something to me, and it still does. I think and truly believe these maps are injurious to our people, particularly those of us in Memphis, Tennessee. Man, when I saw that map, it hurt. It was like a stabbing in the heart in the center of my hometown. That hurt. I didn't like it. But I tell you what hurt the more. When we got on calendar and rules, I said, Mr. Speaker, we didn't decide on the time. He said, oh, she's gonna announce the time. So for this bill, it's 47 minutes each. Now, y'all know I was a military intelligence analyst, and I'm trying to figure out the numbers. Then there was a 20-minute and a 34-minute. We understand the 47 is for the president. Got it. Because it doesn't make sense in my analytical mind. 47 minutes. But man, when I added up 34 and 20, that's 54. Why 54 minutes? Man, that was the hard to me now. This is how I read it from my analytical mind. Brown v. Board of Education. Supreme Court decision in 1954. That shit hurt me. I'm just telling you. These numbers mean something. They are not arbitrary. They are not arbitrary. So, I'm only doing 44 minutes for President.
Leader Lambert, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield 5 minutes to Representative Greg Martin.
Representative Martin, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Let's remind ourselves that while we're here in this special session.
Mr. Trooper, please clear out that balcony over there. Please clear out the balcony. Leader Lambert. Mr. Clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield the remainder of my
Leader
time.
Lambert yields the rest of his time. We're voting. We are voting on the bill. All those in favor of House Bill 7003 as amended, vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed, vote no. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change their vote? Mr. Clerk, please take the vote. Yeah.
Aye, 64, 25 nays, 3 present, not voting.
House Bill 7003, having received the Constitutional majority, I hereby declare it passed without objection. The motion to reconsider is tabled. Leader Lambert, you're recognized. Leader Lambert, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Will the rules be suspended for immediate introduction and consideration of HJR number 22?
House Joint Resolution 22 by Leader Lambert, the resolution to provide for the adjournment sine die of the second extraordinary session of the 114th General Assembly.
You heard the caption. Any objections? Without objection, the rules are suspended. Leader Lambert, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Move adoption of H.R. number 22.
Leader Lambert moves adoption of House Joint Resolution 22, properly seconded. Any objection to the question? Seeing none. All those in favor of House Joint Resolution 22 say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. The ayes declare it adopted. Without objection, the motion to reconsider is tabled. Leader Lambert, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move the Journal of the House of Representatives and the proceedings thereof be approved by the first through the third legislative day of the second extraordinary session of the 114th General Assembly.
Without objection, so ordered. Leader Lambert.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Pursuant to House Joint Resolution number 22, I move the House of Representatives of the second extraordinary session of the 114th General Assembly of the State of Tennessee adjourn. Sine die.
In accordance with House Joint Resolution number 22, I hereby declare the second extraordinary session of the House of Representatives of the 114th General Assembly of the State of Tennessee adjourned. Sine die.